Hello, Jacob Spinney here. I'd like to offer some of my thoughts on the motion that affirmative action is bad. I'd like to take the negative position that, in fact, affirmative action is indeed a good thing. Now, are there cases of abuses going on? Yes, sure. There are plenty of cases of black people who are underqualified over their whiter counterparts getting the jobs over their whiter counterparts. Because of affirmative action. Sure, there are plenty of abuses that go on, but that doesn't take away from the actual point of affirmative action in the first place, which is to level the playing field. So why should we have affirmative action for black people? Well, because before the 1960s or so, we had affirmative action as well, but for white people, and we had affirmative action for white people for hundreds and hundreds of years. And these weren't just attempts at making the races equal. No, these were explicit attempts at making the white race have much greater benefits than the black race before the 1960s or so. If you were white, you would have many more benefits offered to you than if you were black. And there's no debate about this. If you were white, you were far more likely to get the job over a black person, no matter what that black person's qualifications. You were far more likely to get that loan, you were far more likely to get that raise, and so on and so forth. So white people are getting a head start because of the capital that their ancestors were able to accrue for them, whereas black people aren't able to get that head start. They have to start their own lives from zero. So sure, there are plenty of abuses that take place where underqualified black people get the jobs over their white counterparts. But you also have to realize that before the mid-1960s, this happened explicitly, and this wasn't the exception, this was the rule, that underqualified white people get the job over a more qualified black person. This was the rule, not the exception back then, and this happened for hundreds and hundreds of years. So wouldn't you agree that it's at least a little bit more fair to have, as the exception, not the rule, cases where black people are able to get the job over white people to help them get a better start, so that the descendants of white and black people will start on an equal, level playing field, rather than the descendants of white people getting a head start over the descendants of black people.